Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/idontworkherelady, where people tell us their craziest stories on when they got mistaken for being an employee at somewhere they didn't work. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax and enjoy some Reddit stories. I quit over a month ago. Please stop texting me. The first summer out of high school, I got a job at the only place that was hiring near me, Dunkin' Donuts. It wasn't a bad job. I actually quite liked it and was getting paid enough. At least 18-year-old me thought that. I had been there about 6 months when I approached my manager asking for some days off for a family vacation. I was greeted with a, "Oh, that won't be a problem. The company is actually selling this store the day before then, so you actually won't have a job anymore." Both great news and not great news at the same time. About a month goes by, and I, a day away from my vacation, go in for my last shift, which is also the last day the store should be there. As I walk in the door, cheery for my vacation, my manager lets me know I'm scheduled for every single day I'd be in vacation. No, there must be some mix-up. The store is closing and I asked you for those days off. I said over and over, to which she wasn't having it. So I quit. Straight up took off my apron, put it on her desk and told her I was quitting. I thought that would be the end of it. On my too long of a drive to where I was going on vacation, I was bombarded with calls from both my manager and the district manager letting me know I was late for my shift and in trouble. I let them all go to voicemail. A few days goes by and I stopped receiving calls. That seemed to be the end of it. About a month later, I get a text from an old co-worker whose number had since been deleted from my phone. The conversation went, "Hey, do you think you can cover my shift on X day at X time?" "Sorry, I don't work at that store anymore and actually have a new job that I'll be at that day. Sorry, good luck finding someone else to cover you." Oh. About a week goes by and they text me again. "Hey, don't forget you're covering my shift tonight." Like I already told you, I don't work there anymore and won't be covering your shift. "You never said that, you lying POS. You better come cover my shift. I don't give a heck if you don't work here anymore. You said you'd cover it." And a slew of other rude and very angry texts. I blocked her number and carried on like nothing had happened, and the last I heard, that store had long been torn down. Good riddance. What planet are you living on if you don't understand, "Oh, I quit," and then you still go on to say, "Oh, you're working this shift," like no, Putting me on the schedule doesn't mean that I have to work for you again. When I was in my senior year of high school, I started working at a local family-owned restaurant. My boyfriend was working there before me. It was only my third ever job, but I could tell that the place wasn't very professional. The pay was under the table, and the schedule would constantly change. There were times where they would add me to the schedule on the day they wanted me to come in. I would typically see next week's schedule on Saturday. Sometimes I would be listed as off for Tuesday, but get a call that day saying that I was added to the schedule that morning and that I need to come in. The family would always be getting into drama with each other and screaming so loud that the customers would get uncomfortable. Eventually, I decided that I needed a job that had more of a professional environment, where I could also get more hours. I applied and got in somewhere and gave my 2 weeks notice. I worked at the new place for a few months before I had to quit, as they stopped working with my school schedule completely. I didn't immediately start looking for a new job, because I still live at home and I had several thousands in savings to keep me going. Plus, my classes were getting really tough, and I needed more time for homework and studying. My boyfriend was still working at the restaurant at the time, and one of the waitresses, part of the family that owned the restaurant, we'll call her Lindy, asked him how I was liking the new job. He told them that I had to quit because they couldn't work with my class schedule. Deb told him that I could always come back to work at the restaurant if I needed to, and he told her he would let me know. Maybe a month goes by and he asks me if I had been in contact with the owner. I'll call her Deb. I said no and asked him why he would ask that. He told me that apparently she thought I was working at the restaurant again because she added me to the schedule. We both started laughing because she had no reason to think I was working there. Lindy must have told Deb that I didn't have a job, so she took the opportunity to put me on the schedule without even contacting me. My boyfriend decided to just pretend that he didn't see my name on the schedule because it wasn't his problem. The day I was scheduled to work comes, and he is working as well. Lindy asks him where I am, and he just says, "OP doesn't work here." And she says, "But you told me she wanted to come back." He never said anything of the sort, and tried to explain that to her, but she stuck to her guts. They eventually found someone to cover the shifts that they had me down for, but I'm still amazed that they didn't even have contact with me for months, yet they still put me on the schedule. But even if she wanted to come back, they still should contact her beforehand. That's the stupidest thing I've heard. The baby boomer boss you all fear. I was the tech girl for a crazy baby boomer boss, Deborah, who believed that if she typed in her password incorrectly and it asked for it again, the government was spying on her and we had to shut down everything, all of the computers in the office. I got paid by the hour and she wouldn't listen to the explanations, so fine. I did everything technology related for her for 2 years, but this story, you need to know I built her website. I gave her a 3-month notice of when I was leaving because it was a small business and me leaving would be a huge hit. 3 months was for her to find a new tech person and cope with losing me emotionally. She was extremely attached. She wanted to write me into the will, and I was the daughter she never had, etc. I empathized with her, but she was an extremely toxic person. I leave on the expected day and she has done 0 interviews for a new tech person. In the first weeks of my leave, I would take her calls, but she still owed me over $1,000 and was asking me to just pop in, grab $60 and fix something up since I was already there. I accepted once, fully realizing this would be her method of getting free work out of me, but needed the money and declined ever since. The fun part. 1 month out and I'm getting non-stop calls, multiple a day from my old boss. She seems to have forgotten I had quit. Voicemails range from a cooing voice saying, "Okay sweetie, this is a fun vacation, but I can't wait for you to get back," to a high stress and annoyed, "Okay, this isn't funny. The website is crashing. The guy on the phone doesn't know what to do. You have to come back here and fix this and make a new one while you're at it for another company I have. Call me back now." I almost thought that I didn't properly tell her I was quitting, but I did. So on this day, while at my new job, I'm getting the chain calls from the Debster, my ex-boss Deborah. I can't take them since I'm in a meeting, so I silence my phone. Then my mother calls. I think either it's an emergency or Debbie broke my rule. Important to note, while I worked there, she called my mother for information on me when I was 10 minutes late, a phone number she shouldn't have had and probably stole from me. I told her that, as a professional, if she ever contacted my parents again, it would be the last she heard of me, no warning. I step out of the meeting to take my mother's call. She says what I expect, that Debbie is looking for me, and I tell her to block the number and avoid all unknown calls. Another less than morally upstanding tendency of the Debster. I refuse to pick up any more calls. I put her ringtone on silence, and all the messages get progressively more psycho. Eventually, they stop, and today I live Debbie free. Thank God. I'm telling you, it's these lazy millennials that always on vacation and everything. Psh, Us baby boomers, we know everything. Mum wants me to pull her child out of class. I don't work at this school. For context, my mum teaches special education kindergartens, and I volunteer in her room specifically every Friday, because I get out of my high school at noon on Fridays, and the elementary school doesn't get out until 4. I'm 17 with a baby face, and there's absolutely no way this lady could read the loud visitor sticker on my shirt. I was running some papers for my mum to the main office, so I could make photocopies of something and turn in other things to the front desk. While turning in the papers, I was chatting with my aunt, who also works at the school in the main office. She doesn't handle visitors with the school, that's a different desk. Her desk is in the back. In walks Rude Lady. My aunt gets up to go run the papers I gave to her wherever they need to go, and Rude Lady snaps her fingers at me. "Excuse me, I called an hour ago. I need to pick up my daughter." "Oh, sorry, I don't work here, but I can find you Miss Main Desk Lady." No, I need to pick up my daughter now. It's very important." I keep trying to explain that I am not an employee and cannot take her to get her child, nor can I call the classroom to have her daughter come into the office. I tell her that I'm sorry, and Aunt or Miss Main Desk Lady will be back shortly. I'll go grab someone from the break room. She seems relatively okay with that answer until I come back without a person to help her. She doesn't quite lose it, but she's being very rude at this point. "Where is someone that can help me?" I couldn't find any office staff. Miss Main Desk Lady might be in the restroom. It won't be long until someone can help you. I tried to leave, but she stood in front of the door. I'm not sure why, because there's more than one exit, but she seemed extra angry when I just turned around, grabbed my photocopies and left. I'm sure she got her daughter eventually, because when I went back to the office to use the staff restroom, volunteers are allowed to use, she was gone and both my aunt and Miss Main Desk Lady were there, and nobody else was in there. Oh, some entitled parents I don't work here lady crossover. Oh, that's always the worst. Job keeps scheduling well beyond time that I quit. A few years back, I was waiting tables at one of those places where you could easily pay all your bills, and plus some, working 3 to 4 shifts a week. Because I had so much downtime, and would do things like have random road trips if I had many days off, I decided it would be a good idea to get a second job. I ended up taking a job working at a hotel waiting tables for breakfast. Surprisingly, hotel breakfast servers in nice hotels can make decent money. This might be a good time to mention that they had to hire breakfast people because existing staff just wouldn't show up if scheduled. Anyway, it's a mess from the beginning. They're trying to do team service during breakfast, which was unnecessary and confusing to guests. More than once I'd show up and be the only front waiter, the person who actually takes the order and talks to guests, with 3 people whose only job it is to keep drinks full, who would have a fit every time I sold alcohol. It's a drinking city, any people want booze for breakfast. And another 3 whose only job was to clear and reset, completely unacceptable on a Saturday morning in a full hotel. Eventually, I was over it and turned in my 2 weeks notice. The schedule comes out for the week after I'm supposed to be done and I'm on it. I talk to the manager and remind him that I turned in my notice and I'm scheduled past my last day. I agree to work that week, but that's it. Next schedule, same thing, same conversation. 3rd week rolls around and I'm over it. I remind all managers that my last day was 2 weeks ago and advise them to look at the schedule. I didn't show up for any of the shifts that week, so I assumed the matter was closed. Fast forward 2 weeks later, now 7 weeks after I turned in my notice and 5 weeks after what was supposed to be my last day. My phone is ringing off the hook at 7 AM. It's one of the managers. They're desperate and trying to call me in. I remind him that I quit over a month earlier. Turns out that not a single front waiter showed up, and the small army on the floor was incapable of doing anything beyond pouring a coffee or grabbing a juice. Things I told them about as part of my reason for leaving. I just told him sorry, I don't work there, and it's not my problem, and hung up. Never heard from them again after that. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like, and if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.